Curtis Razor Blaydes, who is here to join us. What's up, Curtis? How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's great to have you as always. I love the beard. Is this are we going a little longer this time?
No, I'm getting a haircut this afternoon. I always
Okay.
wait until the very last minute. That way it lasts longer.
When do you go? Tomorrow or today?
I leave tomorrow afternoon. I should be arriving in Miami around 5.
Okay. And what a great card this is. Massive. I mean, I can't believe like you guys could be, right at the very top of the bill, and because it's so stacked, you're a little lower down, but it doesn't diminish the intrigue. Now, you guys were supposed to fight a few months ago, and unfortunately, you had to withdraw. For those that don't know why, including myself, why did you have to withdraw?
I had a lingering injury. I hurt. I got hurt in June, like a week before the fight was announced, and I just assumed I'd be able to work around it. But then we reached October 1st, and then the injury had actually gotten a little worse. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to be the fighter I need to be. So we made the decision to call it off.
I'm assuming you watched his fight. He ended up staying on that card. I'm assuming you watched it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of his performance?
It was pretty much what I expected. He's a grappler. He's not very known for the striking or the footwork on the feet. So we all knew that's what he wanted to do. He was able to do it. The only thing that did surprise me a little bit was the lack of submission attempts. I thought he'd have a bigger bag of like high level jujitsu things. Like who's that Russian I went against? Shoot. A while ago. There was a Russian I fought in 2017, and he was a guy who was hitting like Ezekiel chokes off
Olenek.
the top. Yeah. Only I thought he'd have a jujitsu game like that where he have some sneaky stuff, but maybe he just didn't get the opportunity. But then again, he did have like 15 minutes of top time. So that was the only thing that was a little bit of a surprise, the lack of submission attempts.
So there is a ton of hype surrounding him, as you probably know. Do you think it is warranted?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you come in and you're able to reel off 4 or 5 victories at heavyweight, heavyweight's a different division. I know we don't, we're not the deepest weight class, but just because it's heavyweight and we all hit hard, it's just hard to string together four wins in a row because anything can happen at heavyweight. I think the hype is warranted.
You say that about heavyweight, and I totally understand what you're saying. But I would also say that it's a fascinating time at heavyweight, right? With Aspinall now the interim champion, and we don't really know when Jon is going to come back in the Stipe situation. And I feel like it's supremely interesting for you too, because I could see a scenario, and correct me if you feel otherwise. You go out there and you beat Jailton Almeida in a very impressive way. You have that story with Aspinall. Aspinall has talked about wanting to run it back with you. Do you think there is a chance, despite how your last fight went, you go out there and do good work on Saturday, that you could be next for Tom Aspinall?
Yeah, I do believe that's a possibility, and I'm also not going to hold my breath. Like I'm not worried about the future. I'm locked in, and if that opportunity, if it does present itself, I'll be very thankful and I'll be ready. I do believe that Aspinall and we do have unfinished business because we didn't really get to fight. That was 20 seconds, and I know it's a win for me, a loss for him, but we both understand we still have to run that back.
Were you surprised that he beat Sergey as sort of convincingly and quickly as he did? You obviously know Sergey as well, sort of know Aspinall. You didn't have much time with him in there, but given what you knew about both of them, you studied Aspinall. Were you surprised that it went down that quickly?
No, like I said, this is heavyweight. We
Yeah.
have a very thin margin of error. Like a lot of exchanges that lightweights have, bantamweights have, you can't do that at heavyweight. They get to make mistakes. They get to enter an exchange with their hand down and get hit, and then they're able to be like, "Oh, almost got knocked out." Heavyweight, if you enter an exchange with your hand down once, that's the fight, and that's what happened with Aspinall and Sergey. Sergey likes to huck hooks, and the hooks are a little slower. And Aspinall, he throws straights are a little faster, and that I didn't think it would happen that fast, but I'm not shocked that he was able to find a knockout on the feet. I do believe Aspinall's hands and striking acumen is just a little better. Obviously, he proved it.
Right. Do you think that he should be considered the official champion as opposed to interim, or do you think it's, they made the right move by not stripping Jon?
I guess we'll find out because it could be the right move if Jon and Stipe have their fight and they both end up retiring. It's the wrong move if Jon wins, but he gets injured. He decides to hang on, and then he's 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 the inter. No, Aspinall would be the interim champ as long as Jon doesn't um defend it, and that's up to Jon. He could retire immediately after, or he could be like, "Oh, I'll take Aspinall or whoever has the interim belt at that time." We'll just have to find out. But I've heard all the rumors and discussions I've been hearing is this is going to be Jon's last one. So if that's the case, I think it was fair to not strip him.
Who do you think wins, Aspinall or Jon?
Mm, the fact that it's not an automatic answer, that's enough of an answer right there. Like, I don't know. And that's why that would be a hell of a fight. I know the UFC would love to have that because it's almost like the old guard meets the new guard,
Yeah.
and we would get to see. I think that's what they were hoping out of Jon versus Gane, but that wasn't really that exciting, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people have talked about like Aspinall versus Almeida being like this new, but I feel like Aspinall's on a much different level than Almeida. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think because Almeida, he hasn't shown anything else besides the grappling. You're always, when you're having these discussions like who's the more complete fighter, he's always going to be at the bottom just because he hasn't shown he has hands. Aspinall has shown he can strike. He's shown he can grapple. I remember what he did to Volkov. He's able to get the submission. He's already shown early on he's a very well-rounded heavyweight. So I believe I'm also a more well-rounded heavyweight than majority of the division because I have the grappling and I think I've shown, and I also have the striking.
It will be by the time this fight happens, almost 11 months since your last fight. How difficult has this year been for you, not being able to compete?
I mean, any time you have a lingering injury, and this is my first time, I've been blessed. I haven't really had to experience any like long recovery processes like that. Like high school, I didn't have any injuries. College, amateur, early on, this is like my first time. So that was hard, just not knowing like how long is this going to take? Am I going to be the same? All that starts to swirl. But once I was healthy again, it all went away. That was my biggest like fear is the injuries. Injuries, you never know if you're going to be the same athlete. You hope, but you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you feel as close to 100% as possible? Like, do you feel like there's anything lingering, bothering you?
No, I feel great, and that's why I'm very happy that the UFC allowed me the time to heal, and they were nice enough to give me the exact same matchup because I didn't know
Yeah.
if that was going to happen either. I wasn't sure if it would be Almeida or Gan or whoever.
I don't know if you watched, but on Friday there was, oh no, sorry, on Saturday, Junior Dos Santos won the bare knuckle MMA heavyweight
I heard
championship.
about it.
Jorge Masvidal. Did you watch that?
No, I'm not gonna lie. The bare knuckle is hard to watch. I
That was just what I
watched.
was gonna ask you. Like, would you ever do something like that? I mean, it's the same rules as MMA,
Oh,
just no gloves.
I would do it, but I need the bag. I'm not gonna do
Sure.
it for what I earn in the UFC. I need a significant raise to get hit in the face without a glove. Because again, it's heavyweight and everything just hurts a little more heavyweight. But I would do it. But it is hard to watch. I had a buddy, Joshua Copeland. He had a
Yeah.
bare knuckle. Like, yeah, I was at that one live, and I was like the best seat you could have, and I could see everything. That's a rough sport. That's brutal.
What's crazy is that you're a pro MMA fighter. You're fighting in 4 ounce gloves. It's not. I know it's some kind of protection.
Yeah,
It's not a tremendous amount of protection, and yet you say you have a hard time watching it.
it's just because the gloves. The one thing they do reduce is the cuts because our hands are so sharp. A
Yeah.
jab without gloves on, that's a slit. Another jab, that's a cut. It's just easier to get cut up, and once you start bleeding, that starts to influence your vision and also your confidence because you're like, oh, I'm bleeding. That means she must have hit me really good, and it just getting hit. I'm be honest, I've never been hit in the face without a glove on. I've never had a
Wow.
street fight, so
Not one.
mm-mm.
I guess no one's trying to test you when you're as big as you are, right?
Nah, where I'm from in Chicago, it started to turn from like fighting to like the gun violence around
Oh.
2005 and like from then on. So I got into high school in 2005. Around then, people they stopped fighting each other, and it was everything is either you're getting jumped or they're bringing a gun. So nobody
Oh.
ever, I never got a chance for a street fight. I missed that era.
Well, I'm glad you missed it. A guy you have a win over, Jairzinho Rozenstruik won on Saturday. Did you watch that main event? And if so, were you impressed?
Um, didn't watch the whole fight. I watched the highlight. I don't know if I can tell a whole lot off the highlight, but it was a typical heavyweight, type of fight with Jairzinho and like the majority of the division is really just huck and hope. A lot of these guys are just hucking and hoping. I can tell because the more I learn about striking, the more I can see what other guys are doing, like they're setting up stuff with their footwork or pump fakes. I don't really see a lot of that out of not only Jairzinho, but a lot of heavyweights. Because when you hit so hard, you get into your mind. I don't have to be smooth. I don't have to be crafty. I can just swing hard, and if I hit him, I hit him. And that's how a lot of heavyweights enter the fights. I'm just gonna huck and hope.
All kinds of heavyweight topics. I also wanted to ask you about a fight that's happening the day before yours. A guy you also know, Francis Ngannou, against Anthony Joshua. Have you been watching the Francis story? Did you watch his fight against Tyson? And what do you think about that fight? But also, do you also think he has a chance to do something similar against AJ on Friday?
Um, yes, I did watch his last fight against Tyson. I was very impressed by his just demeanor. He used to be. I don't want to. When people hear spaz, they think like, oh, he don't know what he's doing. But he used to be a lot more aggressive. He was a lot more reserved. He was able to like, I can see the things I was just talking about, like with the footwork and the setups. He's grown. He's added that into his game. And I do believe he has a shot against Anthony Joshua. I think he has a shot against anybody. When you hit as hard as he does, even with the big gloves on, you always got a shot.
That's crazy, man. He wins his fight on Friday. He'd be fighting for
Yeah.
the undisputed heavyweight title.
It's great. He happy for him. happy for him. You can only be happy for a guy because obviously he works hard. You don't
Yeah.
get the body, you don't get the wins he has without hard work. So it's just happy for him.
Have you ever been hit by someone harder than the way in which he hits with the power that he possesses?
I get asked this a lot, obviously, because I fought Hunt, Lewis, and Ngannou.
Yeah.
I still believe it's a toss up between Hunt and Francis because they don't hit the same. Like Hunt uses his whole body. He's a more technical power puncher, but Francis just has this unnatural, ungodly power that it's just hard to describe if you haven't been hit by it. It's always a toss up. They both hit extremely hard. So,
All right. So back to you in closing. Huge fight for you. I really think that you could be next for Tom if everything goes your way. How do you foresee it going down on Saturday?
I foresee it going down. Me defending takedowns using. I've. I'm gonna channel my inner Justin Gaethje. I'm gonna use my wrestling more defensively. I'm looking to use my hands. I believe I have the hands to put this guy away on the feet.
Wow. I love it. And that could be early, right? I mean, given the way you hit, and as you were just saying, don't blink,
Yeah,
as they say. Don't blink.
don't blink. Whenever heavyweights are in there, don't blink. You never know. It could be a jab, overhand, uppercut. You never know.
Well, I wish you the best, my man. Good luck. Safe travels over to Miami. What a scene it's going to be. What a card this is. It's fantastic. And your fight is one of the most intriguing ones on it. So thanks as always for the time. Good luck to you on Saturday. Can't wait for it.
Thank you. I appreciate the time as always.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel. So please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.